Yay, another missing episode. Time for my TV to become useless again. So, The Mythmakers. A Spooner-esque comedy historical, but here's the plot twist. It's not written by Dennis Spooner. He's a little busy babysitting Terry Nation right about now. The TARDIS lands in the middle of the Trojan War as opposed to a real historical event. The whole gang's here: Achilles, Odysseus, Paris, Agamemnon, Menelaus. Helen is name-dropped, but is conspicuously absent otherwise. I think we're arriving around book 22 of the Iliad.
Oh, don't pretend you've read it. You watched the overly sarcastic productions video on it, and then took a cursory glance at the Wikipedia page at most.
Alright, in my defense, why the fuck is it 24 books long? I'm just saying, with padding like this, Homer could have been a classic Doctor Who writer.
Fuck you!
So we open right as Hector is killed by Achilles in revenge. Before Hector's body can be used as a chariot's bumper sticker, the Doctor steps out, and he's immediately confused for Zeus. Now, like the last time a member of the TARDIS team was confused for a god, this is actually handled pretty well. The Doctor steps out literally as someone invokes the name of Zeus, so you can see why they made that leap in logic. And it's only really Achilles that believes. Most of the rest doubt. And the Doctor's cover is even blown after part 1. And also, they're in a Greek myth, so assuming that gods are rocking up isn't so much gullible as it is genre savvy. The really interesting thing is that when the Doctor and Stephen tell Odysseus the truth, he believes them straight away. And he immediately starts to turn them to his advantage. I really do appreciate how 60s Doctor Who depicts faith and depicts the intelligence of people in the past. Granted, it's kind of hard to be condescending to the ancient Greeks. I mean, look at what they did. They invented democracy and yo-yos. So the Doctor is now the Greek army's scientific advisor, tasked with, you guessed it, breaching the walls of Troy. Now, as soon as you know that this is the premise, you know this is going to end with the Doctor building the horse. The story, smartly, does not play this as a twist. It instead quietly builds around it. It ratchets up the tension and builds the dread around Doctor Who doing the thing that Doctor Who usually does. The rest of the story is spent with Vicky and Stephen inside the walls of Troy, trying to get out of there alive, trying to get their friends out alive before the city is sacked. I didn't really give this story much thought on my first watch through. Only really the ending stuck out to me, which is a shame because the rest of it is really good. The dialogue in particular is fantastic. It's got the first mention of an orgy in Doctor Who. Whilst I generally prefer the broader comedy historicals like the Romans or the Gunfighters, because I'm a complete child, this really did work for me. The guest cast in particular are all great. Odysseus is very well characterized as very intelligent, but also a massive dick. I mean, just ask his household staff. Paris, Priam, and Menelaus were a lot of fun. Ooh, and Cassandra. Some of my absolute favourite line deliveries in all of Doctor Who.
I am at present officer commanding all Trojan forces, and I will not tolerate interference from a fortune-teller of notorious unreliability. How dare you!
See, this is why I wish this was one of the surviving stories, because I feel like Doctor Who Twitter would have a field day with it.
I am High Priestess of Troy!
All right, then get back to your temple before you give us all galloping religious mania!
It's just endless meme formats. But let's talk about that ending. So you remember the Romans, how the Doctor inadvertently caused the city to be burnt down, and it was kind of laughed off. Here the same thing kind of happens, only the Doctor is way more directly involved, and it's not funny at all. Honestly, it ends with a complete massacre. No, not you, wait your turn. I only listened to the soundtrack, but I almost think that was to its advantage because I could just picture the carnage. It's complete pandemonium. Paris and Priam die, Cassandra is given to Agamemnon, Stephen's injured, the Doctor and him barely escape with their lives, and Vicky is stranded. Welcome to the John Wiles era, the emo phase of 60s Doctor Who. In the next few videos, I'm going to be talking about this shift in tones between Lambert and Wiles, how intentional I feel it was, and what it might say about each respective creative vision. In this case, I would say it's pretty deftly handled. We have a historical returning to pretty familiar ground, pretty familiar plot beats, but it's recontextualizing them. Now the Doctor looks less like a carefree, adventurous imp, and more like a cowardly instigator whose self-preservation instincts and interference backfires horribly. As for Vicky, well, if you've seen my last Hartnell review, you'll know how I feel about her leaving. That said, Maureen O'Brien did say that she wanted to move on, and Vicky here does at least have more agency than most Classic Who companions. The Doctor actually doesn't get any say in it at all. And if you don't buy the romance, you can at least buy that she went back to make sure that this guy believed that she didn't betray them. The only thing I would say is that it's just kind of a shame that she doesn't get that many scenes with Hartnell in their last story together, because I think their dynamic is really endearing, and I'm gonna miss it. Not only would I like this back, I definitely would like to see more like it. I think the closest contemporary we have is something like Robots of Sherwood. Though if I've got one other complaint, it's that they definitely should have used some of the original titles for these episodes. Clearly, Donald Cottam is a man after my own heart.